Hello, and welcome to Mr.ClixFlix. I'm your host, as always, Mr. Clicks, working every day to bring you the best Heroclix channel available on YouTube. And today's episode is another episode of Heroclix Huddle. And today we're going to go ahead and talk about the watch list, my feelings about it, things that I feel like should be changed or not changed on the figures that appear on the list. So, let me just go ahead and tell you my general feelings about the watch list, and then we'll get going from there. I don't really care for the watch list, and it's not from a standpoint of that I feel that the figures don't need fixed. It's that they shouldn't, the way they go about doing them to do the fix I don't like. I feel like that these are things that shouldn't have even made it out if it was to the point where they're like, hey, I need to go back and fix this. I can understand that something like that might happen once in a while, but every 6 months to have 5 or 6 figures show up is unacceptable. I don't know if it's playtesting. There's a big debate right now going on HC Realms that I've just refused to participate in over whether it's playtesters or not. But it's either the playtesters not doing what they're supposed to, or it's the playtesters are doing what they're supposed to, but WizKids or NECA is not listening to their changes. Either way, it's not good. They should fix it. My other problem with it is that other than downloading the mountainous player's guide, there's no way to get the erratas. I feel like at the very least that they should have the print and play version of all the cards that have been on the watch list should be changed to the new wording so that you can print that off and play it that way. I feel like if they really wanted to make it up, though, you should be able to slap your old card in a envelope, mail it to them, and they mail you a new card that's like nice from the factory instead of a print and play one. That is how I think that should be handled. Again, I just feel like the stuff that needs fixed shouldn't be out in the first place. And then once it is out, there's not an easily accessible way to do it. And it happens way too often. So that's my thoughts on the watch list in general. Again, it's not that I think that the watch list is a bad idea. I just don't care for the number of times that it appears. Anyway, so the figures that are on this watch list are entities, and it's all of them. Bill, Agent of AIM, Iron Pharaoh, Bizarro, and Proxima Midnight. On this list, there's really none of them here that surprised me incredibly a lot. Proxima Midnight, I guess, is the one where I kind of raised an eyebrow. The other ones I felt were kind of a gimme. So I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of how I would change them to make them more, well, not to totally nerf them, but to nerf them a little bit so that they were a little more cost appropriate. So go ahead and talk about the entities and what I would do to them. I watch Married with Clicks on occasion, and he had a good suggestion about moving entities into the tactics section of the rulebook. That's a good idea. I like that idea. I also like the widespread idea of changing entity to a generic keyword. And also, I would take it one step further than most people to where possession mechanic, and you can just make it a whole mechanic because there's plenty of stuff in the Marvel universe and other universes where you could say possessed, and that would be a good accurate description. So possession mechanic should be 10% rule. So if you're playing a 300-point team, you get one entity. If you're playing 500-point, you get 2 entities. It's a nice way to work it out. At 300 points, you can still play your Lantern Battery and the entity associated with that battery for the theme team people, or for the thematic people that are worried about not being able to play them both. Because honestly, the entities aren't as good as a resource, so I don't think that it should be one resource or entity, because then entities would pretty much go the way of the relic, and nobody really play them. So 10% rule on possession mechanic. Entity is a generic keyword and move to the tactics section. is how I would fix all the entities. It seems pretty clean. It doesn't change how anything's worded on the cards. They're just general rule changes. Bill, Agent of AIM. This is a tough one because his power shows up on his willpower clicks. So doing a double power action doesn't fully penalize him, but it does a little bit. So I would consider a double power action, or make it so that Bill has to be adjacent to the character on your team that's using him. Because right now I've seen a lot of people use it where Bill wasn't adjacent to him. They just gave him power action and he was able to do it. So maybe, to me, the best thing to do would be make it that he has to be adjacent to the character that's using it. And, you know, you're going to say, well, that doesn't fix Phantom X or the Iron Pharaoh. When we get to the Iron Pharaoh, you're going to see why the thing for Bill is still going to be effective. But it makes it so there's an extra step. Like, let's say you want to pair him up with Proxima Midnight. Well, you got to figure out a way to transport Bill now in order for Proxima Midnight to work. So it gives you an extra step. You got to be a little more tricky to pull it off. So I'm not sure about the double power action, but I am sure that I would make him be adjacent to the character using it as power. Iron Pharaoh. They put out a lot of things recently that sort of nerf this. I call it a UAV style team, where you send something out and then your whole team kind of sits back and you let that do it. Eva also falls in the same category. Via the Argus agent specifically, and then there's also the Indigo Tribe battery. Is like a hard counter to the point that I'm not sure how much more Iron Pharaoh is going to show up. Could be wrong, but if I was building a competitive team for Worlds tomorrow, it would include an Indigo Tribe battery just to shut this team down. So what I would do is I would make it so that to change Iron Pharaoh, I would just make it that in order for Iron Pharaoh to draw lines of fire from the Falcon token, that it would have to be within range of Iron Pharaoh. So I think he has a 10 range. So for him to be able to shoot through the bird would still be, you figure 3 squares from the bird plus his 10, that's 13 range. That's still really good. And it's still a terrain marker, so you can't really target it. So it nerfs him without hard nerfing him to the point that it's no longer useful. And that's the thing that I like. I feel like every once in a while they're a little heavy-handed with their watch list stuff, and then it makes a figure not really viable anymore. So Iron Pharaoh is, I would make it so that he doesn't have to draw a line of fire to the Falcon to be able to use it. It just has to be within range. That way he can still shoot around walls, do all kinds of fun, neat tricks, but it keeps it from just slowly marching across the board and destroying you. And then, like I said, there's still plenty of other stuff to get around it. So that's what I do with Iron Pharaoh. Bizarro is a tough one because if you really do anything to him, you're fundamentally changing what the figure does. And I don't like that idea, but I understand that a lot of people feel that way. And I think Slosh still has Superman Legion Superheroes still has another year on the modern tournament circuit, and I understand a lot of people still play Golden Age. But a lot of these rule changes come about because of what they're doing to Modern Age. So you still have a whole year of dealing with this figure. So easiest thing I could think to do will be you can't heal him. Just take that line out, and then it's a nice clean errata. Just take out the thing about adding the however you say Bizarro backwards tokens. You can't add them. So no more Angrier's Hammer, although that's going to leave with rotated out. But he can't be healed. I think that's going to really rein him in a lot, so that he's not quite as bad as he was. Although he'll still be good, and you'll be able to do stuff with him. So I feel like he's still going to be competitive, but not quite as bad as he was. And Proxima Midnight, I'm not exactly sure what to do with this. Honestly, I don't know that anything on her thing should be changed. She's only 6 clicks long. She has no damage reducers. Her basically her one trick, and it's a really good trick, are those tracer or those spear tokens or whatever they're called. That's her best and only trick. I feel like for 100 points, she's pretty much spot on. She has that Call the Obsidian trait, but that's, if you're a smart player, you can get around that real fast. So I feel like almost nothing needs to be done. I think she's going to be the Brother Voodoo of this list, where nothing happens to her. She's just on the list, they're taking a look at her, nothing's going to happen. I feel like that might happen with Bill. Especially if they raid an Iron Pharaoh the way that I drew out. Bill almost doesn't need change at that point, and Phantom X is leaving Modern, so that helps a lot with that. So that's all I have for you guys today on how I feel about the watch list in this episode of Heroclix Huddle. As always, please remember to like, comment, and above all, subscribe so that you can be one of the first to view my Heroclix videos as they become available. Until next time, please remember that it's only critical miss if you don't have probability control.